let's say, Luffy was to die, who would be the best fit to take over the captain role on the Straw Hats?
Strength-wise, Zoro. Leadership-wise, Jinbei or Nami.
So are you saying that there would be 3 people leading the Straw Hats, or just?
To be honest, if you would put it all together, I think Sanji would be like the best fit. That has like a strength like Zoro, like leadership qualities like Nami and Jinbei. I don't know. I'll think maybe Sanji or Jinbei. I can't really decide on either of them.
Without Luffy, there is no crew.
Facts.
Because Zoro wouldn't follow any of them. The only person he recognized was Luffy. He wouldn't follow Jinbei. He wouldn't follow Sanji. And it goes vice versa. There'll be a few that may follow Zoro, but Sanji's not gonna follow Zoro. And Jinbei, he doesn't have that relationship that he had with Luffy that he does with Zoro. So what would keep Jinbei here? I could see maybe Chopper, Brook, but the thing a lot of them is for Luffy, and that's the main thing, is keeping them all together. Luffy's able to keep them all together because their relationship with Luffy, a lot of them are going to go their separate ways.
Who out of the Straw Hats you think would be a good captain?
A good captain?
Yeah.
Jinbei's already been a captain.
Yeah.
Depending on what you're leading, Sanji could run a kitchen.
Let's not change the question, though.
Yeah, my
Let's
bad.
just-
Yeah.
I don't think any of them would be a great captain.
Yeah.
Zoro would be a good captain.
I was asking because then I sort of answered the question.
Maybe. But again, like Lawrence said, I don't think the crew could even survive.
I think Zoro would lead those Straw Hat Pirates based on one factor. Your captain needs to have an ambition or goal. With that ambition, your crew is going to follow you. And I think that Zoro has proved that he's captain worthy during Water 7, where he had to initiate the thought process of Luffy and saying, we're not playing pirates anymore. And if this person chooses to betray us, then you're just going to have to let them go. And what did everybody else do? Like Sanji. He followed up. I think Sanji wouldn't be a great candidate either, because when we saw it on Onigashima, he looked forward to speaking to Zoro about his condition. He felt that if he couldn't control himself, it was Zoro who would be the one to take him out. So there is evidences of Sanji and the rest of the crew respecting Zoro enough. And not only that, when we looked at Chopper and Zoro during Alabasta, Chopper asked him a specific question about having goals and everybody doing their own thing. And then Zoro was like, we're together on this. You have to find your own way throughout this journey. And, all of us continue that path forward. He really keeps the crew together when Luffy or Nami is not there. But sometimes when they are there, he still keeps the crew together. I think there's reasons as to even why Zoro wasn't on Whole Cake. Because if he found out, in my opinion, if he found out what Sanji did, he wouldn't have had an issue with it. He would have had an issue with Luffy. I think that as long as Zoro keeps his ambition and he keeps the respect between the crew, I think that they'll go to a certain extent, but they'll never go as far as they would with Luffy.
They disbanded, dog.
That's just me.
I think that it would be hard for them to stay together. But Sanji sort of has the same thing. Like he has when he led the Marines and on Punk Hazard, when he led the Straw Hats at Dressrosa, and his dream of finding the All Blues, essentially almost like the One Piece. It's like a fairy tale to people that people assume it's real, but we don't know if it's really out there. Obviously, Whitebeard said the One Piece is real, so everyone's going to believe that. But All Blue sort of falls in that same kind of category. Obviously, there's no title to like finding the All Blue, but like there's like ambition and goal.
But the thing is, it's not real. He's not usually the first person that speaks up either. When the Water 7 stuff happened and Usopp and Luffy were arguing, right? It was Zoro who stepped in. And Sanji thought about stepping in, but ultimately he didn't. And that happens again throughout the story where like he's about to with Kuma in the Kuma situation. He goes to be like, yo, I'm going to do this. But then it's really like, no, you're not. Like it's going to be me. So he takes those leadership positions, even though Sanji could possibly do it. They would never follow Sanji because the goal isn't tangible. It isn't something that we even know if it's real or not.
It's not about whether you have leadership qualities in general, right? It's about leading the Straw Hat Pirates. Only Luffy can do that. That's been very clear. That's very evident throughout the series to me. As much as Zoro is what he is, without Luffy tying them together, it doesn't work. The dynamic with Nami won't work. The dynamic with Chopper won't work. The dynamic with Usopp will not work. It works because Luffy is there too. They can step up and lead in situations. They can take leadership roles in situations when they need to split up, when they need to figure out a situation, when they need to have advice, etc. I'm not saying that Zoro can't lead people. I believe he can. I think Sanji can lead people. If we're talking about leading the Straw Hat Pirates, Luffy's straight up gone, where he's passed, they experienced that, they can't do it. I don't even think he would want to. I don't think any of them would want to continue anything. They would be done.
You mentioned that's my captain. They talk about Luffy, my captain. Now you got to switch that. No longer Luffy, Zoro. Oh, the captain said this. Zoro's the captain. I'm all recognizing that this person is our captain. This is who we're following. And not saying that he can't do it. It's just, it's not their dynamic. Jinbei showed he could be a great leader. Zoro showed he could be a great leader. And Sanji is like, he is a leader too. Like, you see him underneath Zeph, he was leading all the other, the cooks. And we saw him even on Whole Cake. He was leading there. They're all great leaders. For Nami, she's not leading anybody in the crew except for Sanji, you know, and also Usopp and Brook, because they do. She took charge on when everyone else is like, you know.
And people saying Jinbei, yo, he's the newest member.
If you peel it back and then you ask the same question, like, is Luffy truly like a leader, or is he like a figurehead? You know, like Luffy's personality is what brought all the Straw Hats together, but can he truly lead the Straw Hats? No. Like when you're talking about like we're going to Wano making a plan, what's Luffy's plan? Just do we're just gonna go and beat his ass. We're gonna go beat Kaido, right? Whereas Law made a plan, had to execute that plan. His plan literally tied into Luffy not following his plan, right? Is he a captain? Yes. Is he like a leader? No, but he leads people through his actions. Like, he doesn't like tell people, yo, you go do that, you go do that. I'm gonna do this, and I just know by me doing this, everyone else is gonna follow suit, and they're gonna find what they need to do in each path.
When did Luffy actually become a captain during pre-time skip? Because from what I remember, he was really never truly the true captain of the ship. It was always Nami and Zoro. When they were going through their difficulties, he was learning to become a captain. He truly wasn't a captain. And that was clearly shown during Water 7. Yes, he has a attractive personality where he gravitates people towards him. Yes, the Straw Hats banded together because of him. But ultimately, whenever they needed him, he wasn't truly a captain. It depended on Zoro and Nami. They were the captains of the ship. And then when it finally came to a certain point during the story, nah, Luffy's the captain. Like, he fully took charge of that role. But he wasn't. And you know when it started? It started after they came back and met Sabaody.
Yeah.
Because you keep saying, like, all these things is the reason why the Straw Hats follow him. But realistically speaking, Mosh just said it. He really never put them in advantageous, like, positions in order for them to blossom. He said, yo, I'm going to do this, and I just trust you guys to do whatever that is. But he never accounted for the dangers that they would face. He would just do things. And then what happened? Ultimately, he lost his crew. And prior to that, Gecko Moria even stated he lost his crew because he was too reckless. So then when Luffy lost it because he was too reckless and he didn't follow the orders of Nami and Zoro during Water 7, what happened? Lost his crew, came back. He learned what it truly meant to lose his Nakama. He learned what it meant to be a true captain. He has to take care of his crew. And that's what he did.
You're ignoring the growth that took place during Water 7, though. Yes, that there was times where you could question how good of a captain Luffy was. He came into his own during Water 7. He was the one who took charge, said, yo, we're going after Robin. This is a decision I made. We're dropping the ship. These are decisions I am making, and I'm standing firm on those decisions. The others aren't doing that to me. Even beyond that, when they got to the sea train, Luffy acted as a captain throughout that process. We're starting an alliance. That was the first alliance thing they did. We're linking up with the Frankie family. We're linking up with whoever so that we can go accomplish this mission. And then, on top of that, even when people who aren't on his crew yet, he starts doing the thing that he already learned with Arlong. I can't lie, I can't cook, I can't steal, I can't use swords, whatever. I need to be strong enough to fight you as the captain. And I'm taking that burden on myself. We're asking somebody in this crew to take up that mantle. I'm telling you, none of them can do that. None.
Zoro can't fight the strongest fighter.
So that sort of plays into what you're saying.
That's one piece of it, Larry. You ignored the alliance. Is Zoro gonna go, Frankie family, ally with me to do? No, he's not that type of person.
Unless you put him in that position.
No,
to do
bro.
So.
No.
You don't understand about Luffy. Like, Luffy essentially is a very selfish person. He does things when he wants to do it and if he wants to do it, right? And that's the one thing people tend to overlook because Luffy's a nice guy essentially, but at the end of the day, he is a pirate and he's very selfish. Zoro had to tell Luffy, yo, you're the person I follow. Get yourself together. We're not playing pirates. That was what Zoro had to tell Luffy. What I was saying is, Luffy, yes, is a captain. When you ask, like, who is the captain of this crew? And people thought it was Zoro. Like, oh, he's not the captain. It's actually Luffy. Like, we understand that he's the captain, but is he actually a leader? He's essentially not someone that people would willingly follow because of what he says, but what he does, right? Like I said, he's literally a figurehead to people. And in that crew, and later on he grew into himself, because even Iceberg and even Vivi said it. Like, you're the captain, this is how you're going to act when you're a captain, you realize what you're actually doing. Even Lucci said it. He's like, oh, you're a captain? Like, do you realize what the situation you put yourself into? And like, throughout the story, in pre-time skip at least, people pointed out multiple times, like, yo, Luffy, if you're the captain, you're acting like this, like, you gotta grow up. You have a lot of growing up to do. So it plays on both your parts. Like, Luffy didn't really understand that aspect until post-time skip, but we saw the progression throughout each arc, and especially Water 7, moving on. It sort of came to a pinnacle when Moria was like, yo, you understand, like, even though you want to be a captain, you want to be this leader, what you're doing right now is not the best route to go on. And Luffy's like, I'm going to do it my way, regardless. And he did it his way to the point where he had his brother die in his arms. And then he had the realization with jinbei is like, oh, even though I used to do it this way, I understand that I can't continue to do it this way unless I'm going to lose everything that I've been vying for this entire time. Not only my dream, but the people I hold dearest to me, like my crew, just like I lost my brother. So it took a growth throughout the series for Luffy to become the captain, but he's still not a leader, but he is essentially a captain.
And that was Fishman Island. He officially became the captain.
He's been the captain, bro.
That's where I go into, like, because what you guys said is right, but how I also see it, we got to take in consideration. The main thing why they also, the outside people, right? They judge Luffy because we could all agree on this, Luffy's an idiot. So a lot of times you'll see where Nami looks like she's being the captain, which I always disagree because Nami was never the captain because not everybody would listen to her. Because the main thing about being a leader, right, or the captain, is you're able to gain people to your side and they're able to support you and follow what you say. Only time they really listen to Luffy is when it affects, listen to Nami, and when it affects the entire crew, especially when she's navigating, right? Decisions where it's best for all of them. For the agenda of the crew, they're not going to listen to Nami. Point blank is where Zoro kept arguing, saying, don't order me around. You're not my captain. Like, kind of like, I didn't choose you as my captain. Zoro will say it to Nami all the time. So the main thing with Luffy is a lot of things like what Sebastian brought up before, where he said on Arlong, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do that. So there's a lot of stuff that Luffy is lacking there. So there's a lot of things that Luffy comes off as an idiot where he needs someone else to do this for him because he doesn't know how to. But leading wise, for example, they support Luffy in a few things. Is that they believe that he could accomplish his dreams. They believe that he's going to overcome, and that's why Luffy recklessly puts them in these situations where they have to overcome. And that's why a lot of people judge him, like, I think Brooke even said it. What kind of captain or leader deliberately puts their crew in danger? So that's what a lot of people were at the outside were going, is like, as a captain, you're making decisions that affect your entire crew that's putting them in danger. They rely on Luffy or trust Luffy and support him that, well, we're going to overcome this because not only is Luffy our captain, but us together, we can overcome anything. Their belief and their trust in their leader because, all right, yeah, we're going through hardships, but he hasn't failed us in the past. And that's why it's showing that Luffy is taking the leadership by supporting what he did before, right? As in, like when they needed Luffy, right? When Nami, when she was rebelling about when she joined the crew, she was having fun with them. And then when Arlong came, she wanted to take it herself, but she needed support. Even though Nami was acting in a way where like even Zoro says, yo, just leave her. Right? And they're like, no, there's something deeper behind her. Like, be it Luffy's able to read her or see what's in her heart, but he was like, no, she's acting this way, but she really needs us. She wants to be bailed out of this situation. The same way he saw with Sanji, he see with other people where they actively kind of choosing to leave the crew. But Luffy's proving himself in a way, no, you could rely on me. You could throw your burden on me, and I'm going to help you get through it. When I am taking the lead, you guys can count on me that I'm going to overcome this for you. For example, go back in Wano. They're going against this overwhelming power that is Kaido and the Yonko crew. And then you legit have Nami and Usopp getting beat down where they're not strong enough to support Luffy's dream at all. So what do they have to fall back on? Luffy's belief. Like, no, he's going to become Pirate King. Even though we are getting beat down, Luffy's going to come out on top at the end. And it shows that later on that when they thought that Luffy, passed. Nami almost broke down. She said, there's no way. Because this is where Luffy always said that he was going to come through for us. So Luffy is a different type of leader. As in, like you said, he leads by example. For smarts-wise, brains-wise, he doesn't really do that so well because he's an idiot. But he's very charismatic, where he could draw people to his side. You could be a leader and you could be smart, but if you can't really get people to support you, believe in you, what are you leading? They're not going to follow you.
But
I agree.
he's also failed the Straw Hats.
Oh, but failing doesn't make you not a leader, though. It just means you failed.
But the thing is, right, like, you're giving Luffy this credibility of proving many times throughout the story that they can depend on him. And when they went to an actual impossibility of them passing a certain point, they depended on him, they reached out to him, they called out his name, and he couldn't protect them. And they failed. The point we're making is that he wasn't a true captain. He didn't know what it was to be a captain. He just had the qualities of a person that attracted multiple things to his side. But ultimately, he was too reckless in order to perceive what he truly had was a gift and then lost everything that he attracted. So for me, it's like, okay, so if Luffy passes away and they come back to Sabaody and they all go, you know what, let's continue forward. And they look at Zoro, Zoro has the ambition. Zoro has gone through everything they've gone through, and he's proven points that he is dependable. He is a person that works out extremely hard to fight the main person, which most of the time he does end up fighting anyway, like Hoodie and Kaido and other people that Luffy have fought. He's fought Enel. So there are times where we could possibly be like, Zoro probably could lead the team. I'm not saying it's definite, but what I am saying is that everything that proved Luffy was a captain wasn't really him being a captain. He became captain after they got back to Fishman Island.
What you're arguing is whether or not Luffy is a great pirate. We're talking about a captain. You can be a
No,
captain and make
no,
mistakes.
no, I'm not saying
Yes,
that
Larry,
either.
you can be a captain and make mistakes. You can be a captain and lead your crew to its demise.
Yeah.
You're still the captain. You made these decisions. They didn't work out. That's on you. I'm not saying he's a great captain or whatever. To be a great pirate means that I can make these decisions and protect my crew that way. That's what being a great captain is. Luffy was a captain all the way back in freaking Arlong Park.
But this is
he
what-
just wasn't a good enough captain, is what you're arguing.
But then we're talking now about titles. We're just giving titles to people based on the fact that they just have it. We're saying realistically, if a person was to become the leader of the crew and they were to be followed by these people and they were to go and make decisions based upon what this person decides, that ultimately decides if they are captain or not.
But
realistically, you can't just be like, yo, Luffy was a captain, which makes him the captain of the crew. Realistically, he wasn't.
You're arguing the quality of his captaincy, and we're arguing the status, period.
But that's the question.
No, it's not.
The question that JT asked was, yo, if Luffy was to basically pass away, who would lead the Straw Hats?
Yeah, that wasn't.
And
That's the question.
But what we said was that none of them could fill that void. That's what we're saying. Because of the reasons Lawrence pointed out.
The thing is, right, they all chose Luffy as their captain. Each every one of them. That's why they're following it. Will they choose
Zoro?
Yeah, that's the main thing. So go ahead.
So like I was saying, like, is Luffy a great leader? I was saying no, but he is a figurehead in the sense that he's a captain because of what he does and how he does it. So I was agreeing partially on your part, but I also agreed partially on your part. Whereas, like, could the Straw Hats still move on if Luffy were to pass? I would say yes, because I don't think they would just stop. Like, they all had dreams still. And they've developed a camaraderie where, like, even if Luffy's gone, we may not go off the One Piece, but there's still other things that we all want to accomplish, and we're not going to go out and seek other people to accomplish things that we already started together, right? So just stopping entirely, Luffy would not want that. So, like, essentially, even answering to your two parts, like, Luffy would not want you to stop your dream because I'm gone. He's like, I'm going after my dream, and I want you guys to come along with me and still chase after yours. If my dream was cut short, I don't want my dream being cut short to cut your dream short. That would make no sense. So if Zoro has to be the leader, so be it. What if, like, all 10 of us are leaders? Like,
but half of them wouldn't even be going after the dreams if not for Luffy.
Exactly.
It's not because of Zoro.
Yes, I'm saying they started because of Luffy. They're not going to stop because of Luffy, because Luffy would not want
But
them
that
to
doesn't
stop.
mean they're going to do it together.
Yeah.
I'm saying, why would they? Okay, so the thing is, why would they stop? Frankie wants a ship to sail to the end of the seas, right? Who would be the best person to help him sail the ship to the end of the sea? The best navigator, like they know, Nami. Who would help Zoro the greatest and possibly becoming the world's greatest swordsman?
No one.
I'm saying the reason why the reason
I'm
why
also saying the crew because
I
they
get what you're
support
saying.
him in
They
everything he
can
needs.
use their other people's skill sets and talents and their goals to influence their own.
Yeah. So I agree with you.
With
saying-
Zoro, there's like a almost
different.
0% chance there. But with the others, I feel you.
Yeah.
But so I understand what you're saying, because, like, it's hard for a crew to stick together when the figurehead, the glue that holds them all together is gone. But at the same time, that glue that brought them together made them what they are now. And if they all split up, they lose a part of themselves that they've been going. Even though the Shards been on the ship for, like, what, maybe a year, 2 years together, maybe not even. I think it's less than
They've
that.
only been like 6 months.
Yeah, so even less than that. But, like, they've grown to a point where, like, when Sanji's like, Robin, come and save me. Sanji would never do that, and Robin wouldn't put herself in that situation. Chopper was to the point where, like, I was a monster. I had no family. Now I have a family. No, Luffy's dead. All right, bye, family. I'll never see you again. Makes no sense. You know what I'm saying?
No, we're not saying they're never going to interact again. We're talking about continuing on.
I'm saying, but
As a crew.
they would have a lot of reasons to continue on together.
Then, to me, how I see it, just because we've been on this for a while, and I'm pretty sure JT's still on the line. Pretty much, is that I can see all them staying together, but I don't for the goals wise, right? Yeah. Zoro, I can see Zoro if Luffy, pass Zoro leaving to go achieve his goal to be the world's greatest swordsman.
He would not leave the crew, bro.
I think he would.
No, he wouldn't.
Because everyone else, like you said, they're tied together because they're still going after their dream.
Yo, but you're putting the Straw Hats in a place where, like, the only reason they care about each other is because of Luffy, when that's not true. If Luffy was gone, they still care about each other. Zoro proved that. Zoro saw Kuma, and Sanji offered himself up to take the punishment that Luffy received from all the battle that they received, right? But he was like, yo, Sanji can't take that. I can take that. I care about Sanji. They've done it multiple times. And like Mash just said, with Sanji asking for Robin's help, he knows he can count on these people. What makes you think that Zoro would just leave, or anybody of this crew would just leave each other because Luffy's no longer there? They love each other. They're in it with each other. They call each other Nakama for a reason. The same way Usopp got beat up, they went and fought Frankie for them. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just what they do. That's instilled in them. And if Luffy already passed on this feeling of family and he's gone, there's no way in hell they're splitting up.
They're definitely splitting up.
To be honest,
They're not continuing.
I'll take
No,
it.
they're not. You're telling me what goal are they? You're trying to say they're going to go after their goals?
No,
they have a common goal of making Luffy the Pirate King. That is why they are together.
I'll take it a step further. I think if Luffy were to pass, they would actually still go after One Piece. I think they would still go after it.
And
think about the best way to send off the person that
I
brought.
kind of agree though.
And the thing is too, again, why do they do that for Luffy? It's because Luffy has an ambitious goal he wants to obtain. Zoro has a very comparable goal he wants to obtain. They would, if not, just be like, yo, we're going to make Zoro reach that status. It's sort of the same thing.
That's the biggest problem, though, is because, like, all right, for the become Pirate King, that is something you literally cannot do by yourself. Yeah. Becoming the world's greatest swordsman, that is something you kind of have to do by yourself. Mm-hmm. You're not relying on your own strength. You're relying on others. You're really not becoming the world's greatest swordsman.
The only support they can give Zoro in achieving his goal is getting him to the destination.
Yeah, exactly.
The person that's strong,
the pushback was that you guys say that, but literally Zoro needed to leave and go to Mihawk in order to get even strong enough to even pursue that dream.
But he did that.
Anyway, JT, you still there?
I'm still here, yeah. That was a lot.
What are your thoughts, bro?
So I didn't listen to everything you said, because y'all just talked for 27 minutes. But respectfully, there's no way in any way, sense, or form that it is Zoro. It would 100% be Jinbei. I'm actually okay with people saying Zoro. All the other crew members, absolutely not. You can make an argument for Sanji. I guarantee you right now, if Sanji was the captain of the Straw Hat Pirates, Zoro would leave. I guarantee it. There is no way I see that possible.
Sanji wouldn't even step into the role if Zoro was available.
I think, like I said, I think it'd be a shield.
He would know better.
Yeah.
No, Zoro's out of there if Sanji is captain. I promise you.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't let it slide anyways. Like, he would never let that actually happen. Jinbei's goal is different than Zoro's. Jinbei's goal is to basically end racism, which is more like domination of the world type thing to, accomplish, while Zoro's just become like the greatest swordsman. The crew is going to be motivated to, progress Zoro to just his own goal. Like, Zoro could be the world's strongest swordsman right now. Some random dude like Blackbeard could kill Mihawk, and if Zoro's number 2, he's number 2, and it's a wrap. He's number 1. So they don't need it like they did with Luffy. Jinbei's already been a captain. Jinbei already knows, and everyone respects Jinbei. Like, there would be no problems under him. And even though y'all have, mentioned times of, Zoro doing things for his crew and stepping up, I agree. But if Luffy wasn't there, he wouldn't have done it. All that stuff with Kuma. If Luffy was not there, he would not have done it. Countless panels of him saying, I'm just doing captain's orders. He wouldn't have saved Smoker at Alabasta if Luffy didn't say it. He cares more for Luffy than his crew, 100%. So yeah, I got Jinbei.
Zoro wouldn't follow Jinbei though.
We can't get into this, bro. We're not gonna go in circles.
It's not.
It's a part of the question.
It's also part of the crew because, like, I'm gonna bring up this decision. Name one conqueror that followed someone that wasn't a conqueror. It's not in the show at all. You won't have it. It's not happening.
Jinbei a conqueror, bro. If we're being real, Jinbei a conqueror.
If that's how he feels, man.
We know, everyone here, even though it hasn't been shown, we all know Jinbei's a conqueror. Come on.
Right.
You know, Lawrence.
JT, bro. Appreciate the question.
Man. See y'all later, man.
All right. Take care, bro.
Thanks, JT.
Hey, Whitebeard and Dopey coming next week.
Oh, my God.
It's coming. Y'all can't avoid it for much longer.
See you later, JT.